The most fierce rivalry college football you've ever seen in your life.
One of the most intense rivalries in all of college football. Miami against Florida State.
It's a game that you'll remember. You'll always be asked what your record is.
When you look at that schedule, you got to circle that FSU Miami.
Intercepted. Picked off by Ramsey. Slides down. Game is going to be torn down and then just pushed aside by Robinson.
I mean, it's a blessing to be a part of this game. It's going to be different.
It's not about them. They just stand in front of what this team's there to go to accomplish. And it is all about us. It's our fight. Let them feel Florida State football.
The chills are all over our collective bodies. For the 70th time in program history, Florida State and Miami. They will kick it off. They will meet here under the lights at Doak. Mike Norvell ready to rock against his rival. And the Seminoles back in their home stadium, one of the crown jewels of college football. 18th ranked Noles and the 3rd ranked Canes. This is, of course, Game Day Live, presented by Bud Light. We cannot wait to get to this program. He's Eric Luallen, who has played in this rivalry. I'm Ariya Massoudi. We appreciate all of you joining us all over the social medias on the Seminoles Unconquered app. And we'll say hello to Emily Peters in just a little bit. Lulu, I'm telling you, man, my hands, they're starting to shake a little bit. We've got the Blazers on for this one. It's the Noles, it's the Canes. You've played in this rivalry, enough said.
Yeah, really enough said. To try to describe what this is like, the emotions of the game, running out onto that field when you're playing against Miami and it's Florida State, you're wearing the garnet and gold. You can't wrap that around your mind until you actually get out there and do it. It's just an incredible feeling. And I envy these guys. I envy the guys that have done it before that get to do it again. I really envy the guys who have never been in this game, in this atmosphere, and they get to do that for the first time here tonight.
I saw your number, I think, in that promo video that our producer and director Kirby Kander caught. The number 77, there he is. Look at big Lulu, Eric Luallen. Before Lulu became Lulu, and he's got, look at this, man.
This is the jersey.
That's the jersey.
That is the jersey that I am wearing in that clip. And it's funny that you bring that up because we got a rumor actually here in Tallahassee that one of the Miami players, I can't remember who it was a defensive player, that he was going to steal the spear when it was planted in midfield. So that's why the teams ended up out there. Miami started out there. We'd heard the rumors. We started out there. We had an offensive lineman named John Brown, bench 525 pounds, mean as a snake, and JB said, if he does it, I'm going after him. So everybody comes together. It didn't end up happening. But that's why those two teams were like that, and that's just what this rivalry is about. Another funny story about that particular scene, Ibis got arrested that night, again because of the spear planting. He had snuck a fire extinguisher onto the field, and he kept telling people he was gonna extinguish the flame. In the melee that ensued, he sprayed it, and it hit a Leon County Sheriff's deputy, and they took Ibis off the field in cuffs.
It doesn't surprise me. This Florida State-Miami rivalry, when you look at the matchup between these two teams, the traditions, right, that these programs have, it's two teams with a combined 8 national titles. You've got first-round draft picks all over in the program histories, and it's 36-33 in the series overall in favor of Miami, but pretty much 500 every time these two teams meet. It's special.
Well, and going back to that 89 game again, that was one where you kind of get a feeling that whoever wins that game, they're going to be in the talk for the national championship. We lost our first 2 games that year. Going into that game that night, we lost 4 in a row. Coach McDuffie took the offensive line down. We would get together in a locker room in the old Moore Center, and we'd meet with him before the team went out on the field for pregame warmups. And he looked at us, he said, the first play is going to be 47, and it's going to be a touchdown. We go out on the field, pregame warmups. We come back in. Coach Bowden has his last words for the team, and he would always start with the defense. Final thoughts on what he wanted to see that night. He gets done with that. He goes to the offense, and that's usually when he tells us the first 5 or 6 plays. Hey, we're gonna go with a 46, then a 44, then we're gonna come back with 344, and usually name off 5 or 6 plays. He said we're gonna start with 47, and then he moved on to his next point. And the offensive line, we all looked at each other, and we were like, this is gonna happen. This is gonna happen. We come out, Gino Torretta throws a pick, Leroy Butler picks him off first play of the game. We line up, Dexter Carter, R47 was the play call. He takes it around the end and goes for a touchdown.
Yeah, well, we're going to write another chapter in this great story tonight. Bobby Bowden, you mentioned, He had his stories. Mike Norvell's got his stories and his thoughts. Let's get some sound from the current Florida State head coach.
This week we have a great opportunity in one of the best rivalry games in all of sports, not just college football, but in all of sports. You'll hear it at the sold-out Doak Campbell Stadium. Night game, prime time. Wonderful stage to be able to show this team, who we are, what we're about, and the response that we're going to have.
Response going to be key, and Lulu, it starts with the quarterback, right? Tommy Castellanos, his response tonight, he had a really outstanding game on the road against Virginia. Even though the Noles lost, I thought the quarterback played one of the games of the season.
He did, and you need your leaders, you need your big guns to step up in big moments, and that's what we saw out of Tommy Castellanos in that Virginia game. We saw that out of him in the Alabama game as well. You need another performance like that out of Tommy Castellanos here tonight. Look, there's nothing else to play for here but tonight's game. You can't think about anything else going on. If he needs to take off and run, do it with conviction. He needs to throw the ball, do it with conviction. Just get after it here tonight. This is the only game that matters right now.
What a pass there on 4th down to Randy Pittman. That would help set the game up and send it to overtime. Castellanos, 4th touchdown rushing on the year, 19th in his career overall in that game as well. Lulu, it's a quarterback that tonight against Carson Beck, you're going to need Tommy to play an excellent game with the leadership involved as well.
And look, with the first quarter last week wasn't anything that you design up. So we got to put that beside us, forget it, put it in the past, and come out here. Don't have another quarter like that. Come out here and play your very best. Know the situation, rise to that occasion, and get it done here tonight.
Florida State top 5 in the country in passing plays of 30-plus yards on the year. And one of those targets, it's Deuce Robinson, 6'6", a big target for Florida State. When you look at what he's been able to do, he had an outstanding game against Virginia. He's been Florida State's #1 option this year.
Yeah, and we talked about that a few weeks ago. One of the things I love about Deuce is just the way he uses his body as another weapon when he's out there. He's got speed, he's got moves, and he's got that body, he's got that great size, and he uses it so well to help himself, not only to help himself get open, but to shield the defender when that ball comes in.
Robinson on the year, you see his numbers on that night in Charlottesville, 9 catches, a career high, 147 yards. And for the first time since 2018, FSU has had a 100-yard receiver in 3 consecutive games here this season. For Deuce, he's going to be matched up against a couple of pretty good Miami corners. How does Florida State find number 0 tonight?
Well, I think one of the ways you find him is getting productivity out of other guys in other places. Get those guys in other spots open, so they've got to start worrying about other guys out in the routes, and that takes a little bit of the pressure off of Deuce Robinson, and then that makes it easier to get him open.
I think Randy Pittman's going to be another one for Florida State, who in the passing game, he came back, missed a couple games due to injury, but he threw for a touchdown, ran for a touchdown, and he caught a touchdown as well against the Hoos.
Yeah, well, it's crazy that happens. It's even crazier when you consider that it's a tight end. And we saw that catch he made on the touchdown. That's not usually a catch you think of for a tight end. That's a catch you think of that a wide receiver is going to make, really showing off the agility in the hands. But there it is right there. You see that catch by Pittman, just an amazing play. What an athletic guy for that kind of size. And to put in that position, I tell you what, that's a good weapon to have.
Yeah, indeed. I think Pittman's going to be a key for Florida State in the passing attack here tonight. I think it's time to take our first break. When we come back, we'll welcome in some all-time FSU greats to Game Day Live, the Noles and the Canes. We'll have William Barnum Floyd joining us on the desk. Stay with us here as we get set for the Noles and the Canes.
It didn't start here.
But everything it stood for still does.
Some things change.
And some things never change.
Tradition, dedication to excellence, a program built on grit.
And driven by growth.
From the tunnel to the turf, every step forward tells a story.
Just like ours.
Where growth determination, and a dedication to excellence meet.
Scott and Wallace.
Traditional unis tonight. It's got to be garnet on gold for Florida State. We welcome in William Floyd. Bar none, my man. He played in this rivalry. You know him, you love him. He's on the Seminole Sports Network as well as the color analyst for FSU football. Ariya Massoudi, Eric Luallen back here, Game Day Live, presented by Bud Light. Bar none, my man. For those at home who do not know what it feels like to be in that locker room before this game, give us the emotions that are happening right now.
I mean, it's nothing more electrifying than being in the locker room before this game. You know, we played this game 93. I like to look back to that one. Last time I played Miami on that field, last time we got it done, it did not come down to a field goal. We were determined that that game would not come down to a field goal, so I'm glad we got out there and got it done. But the electricity right now in the locker room is off the chain.
We've got some highlights for you of your playing days.
All right, let's go.
And in this rivalry as well. When you take back, what do you remember from these games?
Oh, man, this is a nice run right here. This looks like the national championship. I ran over a few guys to get it done. Right here, man, who was that Zach Crockett going in, showing the fullbacks, me right here showing a little second effort, reaching out, getting over the goal line, letting everybody know I got in there. Come on, teammates, come jump in with me. Let's go. Right here is a nice run right here. I think this is Virginia back in the day, running through some guys. You got to stay low if you want to get bar none.
I know this play, bar none.
Oh, yes.
34 wham.
34 wham right there.
You were part of an offense that ran the ball at an elite clip. This is an offense under Gus Malzahn, William, that does the same thing. What are the keys for Florida State as they're able to run the football and continue to move the chains on the grounds?
I mean, it's about hard-nosed football. Who wants it the most? Who wants to win the battle the most? And this defensive line is going to get challenged tonight. Our offensive line is going to get challenged tonight. It really determines of who wants to win the line of scrimmage. And if we're going to win the line of scrimmage, we get it done, we'll win this football game.
I was going to ask you for your key.
Oh, man, this is a great one right here. I was getting there to go in and give Coach a hug right there. Coach Bowden, man, getting that first one.
Hey, I mentioned 34 wham. Could you run one more 34 wham?
Oh, yeah, I got
you
one. It's just one left.
Right.
One fourth down plunge, fourth and one, 34 wham.
Floyd, what would a win tonight mean for Florida State? Obviously, tough one on the road in Charlottesville against Virginia. You were on the call for the Seminoles Sports Network on the radio for that one. This is another opportunity, right? Not just the rivalry, not just the bragging rights, but it does get you back on schedule for all the rest of your goals on the season.
Yeah, you have to have this one tonight. If you want to have any aspirations of playing in the ACC championship game, this is one that you got to have. And I think the team understands that. The coaching staff understands that. So they're going to go out there, and I know they're going to give it their best. You just can't start slow. Last week we started slow. I mean, I think if we could have kept matching with Virginia early in the game. I think we could have made a challenge to pull that thing off. But we stayed in there to the end, and what I liked about it is they fought all the way to the end. They were in all the way to the end. And if they do that tonight and defense can hold them out of the, it's like Coach Bounds always say, man, if they don't score, they can't win. If we can hold them out of the end zone, we'll definitely take home the W.
Hey, we've heard Mike Norvell talking to the team, firing the team up before games. You and I were both in there when Bobby Bowden talked to that team. What was it like for you listening to Coach Bowden, those final words before you ran out on this field at Doak Campbell?
Well, man, I loved it because especially my senior year, because I didn't get the ball a whole lot. He wanted to make sure he always kept me a part of the team and made me feel a part of it. He challenged me in front of the whole locker room. William, first play of the game, 44 power. So it's the lead block, as you know, on me and my middle linebacker. And, of course, he knew I was going to try to knock myself out trying to set the tone. So that's why you always call that play. And that last game, if you remember, in 93, the first offensive play, we ran what? 45 power. Sean comes up behind me and takes it outside, takes it to the house on the first play of the game. I would love to see that again.
Hey, and you talk about the blocking in your position. I mean, that was something you had to be as prideful about that as you did carrying the football.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that was what it was all about. When you came to Florida State, you came here as a fullback. You knew your first job was to block, then to catch the football, and then running the football was third. So I had an opportunity to do all three, and it worked out pretty well.
Running backs tonight against this Miami defensive front, Sawchuk, Usmain, the whole crew, what do they need to do when they get that ball handed to them?
They just need to keep their power behind their shoulder pads. They've been doing a great job, as far as I'm concerned, is keeping their legs churning after contact. You don't bring those guys down on the first tackle, and most times they're falling forward. That's what you want from your running backs. But, I mean, the offensive line is going to have to give them creases in there to get that done.
You played with a great quarterback, right, in your day in Charlie Ward. Tommy Castellanos, if you look at Pro Football Focus, PFF, he's rated as the #1 quarterback right now in the country. What kind of effect does it have on a team when your quarterback plays at that level?
Well, it really helps because you can look into guys like that eyes and know that you always have an opportunity to win the game. That's what I told him when I first met him. I was like, man, you need to be for these kids what Charlie was for us. I never looked in Charlie Ward's eyes and did not believe we were going to win a football game. And I think he has that same effect on that team. He just needs to go out and produce, and everybody will follow right behind him.
I think you bring up a good point about the eyes. Charlie, not the most vocal guy, but you looked at him and you knew.
Yeah.
And Tommy, a little more vocal, different kind of leadership style, but both of those have a place in that huddle.
Yes, it does. Guys are going to follow that, and I think you've heard some of his teammates say they'll run through the wall for him right now. And he's only been with them, 6-8 months? So the effect that he's been able to come in and have on this team in this short amount of time, I think is something special.
You know, you're playing in a rivalry game, but on the season it's just one of 12 total games. What do you think Florida State can draw from in the Alabama win? They did it here at Doak Campbell Stadium. Are there any similarities there in the way that Florida State attacked Alabama and the way that they prepared for Alabama that can have them successful here tonight?
Yeah, well, I think first thing, the 12th man has to be in it. I think that really affected Alabama that first game, having our fans out here just making where they couldn't hear. I think they had 4 or 5 penalties, something they weren't accustomed to having early in the game. So I think the 12th man has to come out and make it happen. But defensively, we have to make sure we shut down the running lanes. I would really love to see Carson Beck win this game with his arm. Everybody's talking about how great he is throwing the ball. Yeah, he's great within 10 yards, but what about after that? He has some passes after that, but not as accurate. So I'd like to see us force him to throw down the field more, crowd the line of scrimmage, shut down the run. Offensively, man, we just have to smash mouth them, then go over the top. We have the ability to do that, but I think if you establish the run on both sides, on our side of the ball, then that gives our receivers a better opportunity to get out there and make plays over the top.
When you talk about this rivalry too, bar none, and you talk about bragging rights and what it means, you had great success in your career against Miami as well. A game like today goes 365 more days between these fan bases too. What kind of edge does that add to this rivalry?
I think it has a huge edge, but like we used to always say, man, we have the opportunity to play at 7:30 at night. The entire country is winning. So guess what? That means the NFL scouts are watching. This is a money game. This is an opportunity for you to showcase yourself in front of the country. And what we used to always say, hey, man, let's go out tonight and beat these guys. So when they watch the film next week, they don't even want to step on the field with us. They're intimidated before we even step on the field and run through the tape. That's the type of mentality we had, and that's what I think these young men are growing to.
One of the things I remember when we played in these games, people talked about locker room bulletin board material. Mm-hmm. And I used to always say, man, if you need bulletin board material for this game,
right,
you got a problem. You got a bigger problem than trying to win this game tonight.
Yeah, you've already lost. And it was kind of like the Alabama game. If you needed Tommy Castellano to say what he said to get you motivated to come to Tallahassee the first time in forever to win this game, then, hey, man, I feel sorry for you.
You talked about the crowd, too. how big of a factor is it for Miami that they haven't, not only they haven't played in this environment, they haven't played on the road at all yet this year?
There is no way to duplicate crowd noise like this in practice. I don't care how many speakers you have. You will not reach the same decibel level for the same amount of time as you will out here on the field. There's just no way you can match that. So I think that's going to be a huge factor for us, and I hope the fans get in early and stay late, and we stay loud the entire game.
You look at that, Florida State 3-0. They're undefeated, like you said, in Tallahassee so far this year. That 12th man making such a big difference. How important will it be early on to manage emotions in a game like this one?
That's huge. I mean, if you look at last week, we could have managed emotions earlier in that game. We had a play with one of the players, I'm not going to say the name, you'll remember, but 3rd and 13, get into a little scuffle under the pile, give them a first down, then they go down and score 14, go up 14-0 on us. So a game like this, you know it's going to be trash talk. It's going to be a little pushing here and there. Save it for the next play.
Yeah,
Save it for the next play.
You got to remember, you've got a shot to get back from later on at some point in the game, and you can do it without all the eyes on you. You can do it legally. You can do it
clean.
Do it in the course of the game.
Yeah, good and clean. Just remember, okay, that guy was being a little extra after the play. I remember. I'll get another opportunity sometime in this game to get some get back. I don't need to do it right now and hurt the team with a bad penalty.
This team for Florida State, as they continue to march on their season and in a game against Miami tonight. You got Barnun here joining us. He'll be back on the radio call here later on. Barnun, one final question for you, and then we'll let you go. For Florida State, give me 2 big keys that you think has to happen if FSU's going to come out and beat Miami tonight.
Well, number one, we have to make sure we protect the football. We have to make sure we protect the football offensively. Defensively, we have to make sure we take it away. And what we do not want to do is give up the big play. So I would say making sure we take care of the football offensively and defensively, making sure we don't give up the big play. We don't want to give up the momentum at home, baby.
Right.
Football is a game of momentum, and you want to keep it the entire time you're in your home field.
All right, well, we saw earlier it was Odell Hagens who was on the field there. And when we come back here, we're going to have Emily Peters, our sideline reporter, join Odell and talk about this great rivalry, one of the great Noles in Florida State history. Game Day Live continues.
Hey, your voice is amazing. Let him hear it.
When you work with someone who knows a lot and cares even more.
Give me a word, give me a sign. Show me where to look, tell me, what will I find?
You're unstoppable.
I'm just getting started.
Well, I'm here to help.
At Truist, we believe the same is true for banking.
Anything for Bud Light, official beer sponsor of the NFL. Thanks.
Doak Campbell Stadium under the lights. We welcome in the third member of our crew to talk about one of the all-time legends in Florida State history, Odell Haggins. Hello, Emily.
Ariya, to get set for one of the biggest rivalries in college football, I sat down with a Seminole that truly bleeds garnet and gold. Not many people have lived this rivalry the way associate head coach Odell Haggins has. I sat down with him earlier this week. Let's check it out. So much for joining me as we get set for this very anticipated matchup between Florida State and Miami. We talked a little bit before we started recording, but what makes this rivalry stand out among other rivalries in college football?
Well, you think about it. Back in the mid-'80s when I got to Florida State University, I really didn't understand the rivalry between Florida State and Miami, you know. And for example, I remember in '84, we played against St. Thomas. Little did I know, Michael Irvin playing on that team, some other guys. And I go to Florida State, he's playing at Miami. And you know, seeing guys like that and playing against each other is so competitive. But a lot of people don't realize it's a lot of respect off the field. But on the field, there's no respect. We're gonna go after each other and play hard against each other. And that's the way it is. And it's a huge rivalry. If you played in a Miami-Florida State rivalry every year, it's second to none.
And what does it mean to this community in Tallahassee to have this game at home? It's a night game. What does this do?
Man, I just got chill bumps even thinking about it. That tells you right there. It's going to be unreal. It's going to be loud, and fans going to be going at each other in the stadium and stuff like that. And, you know, of course, you're going to see some of your teammates like Randy Shannon. I bet he's probably talking noise or whatnot, or Lonzo Highsmith, guys like that. We all still keep in communication. But it's a big game. A big game for the fans, big game for everybody. It's the Miami, Florida State. It's nothing better. That's all I can say, because I played in 4 of them and I'm coaching about 32 of them. It never get dull. You could throw out the record book, because both teams gonna be ready to play.
And you talk about former players. There will be a lot of them in attendance on Saturday. What does it mean to you to see these guys want to come back and want to support this team?
That means a lot, because they love this university. And they love it more than just a football game, because guys always call back, you know, asking about the guys, how they doing, man, are they growing up? And matter of fact, I had a guy this morning call me, Donnell Dockett, asked me about a lot of the guys. And Dale, how they doing, man? They going to class. How you on T-Night pushing it? I say, man, T-Night's doing a heck of a job. I'm helping them out a lot. But it means the world to our former players about this game.
And now, before I let you go, I have to ask you about this year's team. What is special about it?
Well, I think it's special about this football team. Them kids love each other. You see them having fun. They fighting for each other. That's the thing I like. That's what I see in this football team. They love each other. When you have a team that love each other and fight for each other, you got a team. And to play college football now, and the NIL and the portal, and what Coach Norvell has done, bringing this team together, it's amazing. These kids love each other.
Over 4 decades in the trenches and on the sideline for Coach Haggins. Thank you again for his time. And speaking of someone who knows a little something about this rivalry, Alex Lodi's former Seminole standout, ACC Player of the Year, Dick Hauser Trophy Award winner. I could go on and on, but Alex, thank you so much for joining me. You got to be at Hauser just a couple days ago. How did it feel to be back?
I mean, it felt amazing. This place is a second home for me. There's nowhere else I'd rather be other than from my home with my parents. It's great coming back here, and it means everything to have the hospitality of coming back with all the coaches, all the teammates, and the warm welcome. I mean, it's just a big family here at FSU.
Now, there are a lot of rivalries in college football. What is it about Miami versus Florida State that stands out?
It's the history. There's so much history between these two teams. Goes back to as long as I can remember, and it's just great football. I mean, it's in every sport, it's awesome. I know in baseball, it's awesome. In football, it's just as competitive, if not more. I mean, you hear everyone here, like they're as pumped up as could be. This place is just gonna be rocking tonight, and it's just amazing. It's a great rivalry, and there's nothing like it.
Now, you talk about the environment and the fans. You think back to 2024 Hauser, it was absolutely rocking. What do you do as a player to prepare to play in an environment like this, and how does it fire you up? Just talk about that.
You can't let it speed you up sometimes. And you see all the people in the stands, and everyone's rooting for you to do amazing. You just can't get too hyped up about it. And you got to play like calmly and confidently and just trust that you can play and not overthink the moment.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Alex.
Thank you for having me.
Back to you, Ariya.
That's awesome. Alex Lodis, star shortstop for Florida State for a number of years. Lulu, you have a front row seat to literally every at-bat for Alex Lodis as the voice of Florida State baseball. The jump that kid made from last year to this year, unbelievable.
Yeah, I made the comparison last year during the season. Tony Thomas, we saw something like that out of Tony from his sophomore year to his junior year. Same thing with Alex, sophomore to junior year, where he went from being a very good player to being one of, if not the best players in the country. And it's great to see him have that success. It's great to see him come back here, support the university, and as good as he is on the field, he's that good off the field. He's just an outstanding guy.
No doubt about it. A kid who knows what it's like to play in this rivalry on the diamond. When we come back, we'll join our friends in Doak Campbell Stadium and talk some quarterback matchup as well. Tommy Castellanos, Carson Beck, Game Day Live continues here, presented by Bud Light.
It didn't start here.
But everything it stood for still does.
Some things change.
And some things never change.
Tradition, dedication to excellence, a program built on grit.
And driven by growth.
From the tunnel to the turf, every step forward tells a story.
Just like ours.
Where growth, determination, and a dedication to excellence meet.
Scott and Wallace.
Welcome in Game Day Live, presented by Bud Light. Ariya Massoudi, Eric Luallen, former offensive lineman for Florida State. The 70th all-time matchup between Noles and the Canes, and it's sold out under the lights at Doak. We cannot wait to get to it. Lulu, when you look at this matchup, it starts with the quarterbacks, right? Two guys who have been around college football a very long time, but they do it in different ways.
And both in their first year at their particular schools. You talk about Tommy Castellanos, a guy that he can hurt you with his arm, he can hurt you with his legs. Carson Beck is more of a pocket passer, and you want to make him, William Floyd, I thought, brought up a good point. You want to make him beat you long. But Tommy, I tell you what, there's so many ways that Tommy can beat you, and you've got to have Tommy going out there and just all out, get after it here tonight. Don't leave anything on that field.
No doubt about it, a Florida State team that leads the nation in offense, in total yards and points per game. When you look at the keys to this one, how does Florida State find a way to knock off Miami?
Well, I think the first one, and we've already seen it a little bit out on the field now as the teams warm up, you've got to manage the emotions when you get in this situation. Don't give up any stupid penalties. Manage those emotions. No turnovers. Protect the football. You've got to do that here tonight against Miami. And this crowd has got to make a difference here tonight. We got to hear it from the crowd. Be that 12th man, and let's get after Miami here tonight.
Yeah, Florida State team who can do it on the ground as well. 4 consecutive games. The Noles have rushed for at least 230 yards and 3 touchdowns. Lulu, for FSU, how do they find ways to get it done via the rushing attack?
Well, look, this is physical football. You've got to line up, and you've got to beat that guy in front of you. The running backs, again, William Floyd talked about it. Keep the legs churning, keep the legs churning. Get your shoulder pads behind your knees, and just keep after it.
No doubt about it. Florida State's won the last 2 contests in Doak Campbell Stadium against Miami. Lulu and I will be back later on in the game. Enjoy this one, Florida State, Miami. It doesn't get better than this in college football. And for those of you here on the Seminoles Unconquered app and on social media, when we come back, we take you to a moment that can only be described as great. It was the Noles and the Canes, but in soccer. We'll have highlights when we come back.
Hey, your voice is amazing. Let him hear it.
When you work with someone who knows a lot and cares even more,
Give me a word, give me a sign. Show me where to look, tell me what will I find.
you're unstoppable.
I'm just getting started.
Well, I'm here to help.
At Truist, we believe the same is true for banking.
Anything for Bud Light, official beer sponsor of the NFL. Thanks.
Oh, the stars are all over the field. This has been the red carpet. It has been the must-watch ticket in college football this weekend. You got guys like Jordan Travis, Jared Verse back in Tallahassee. I cannot wait for this matchup. But before we get to the Noles and the Canes on the gridiron, we had a first taste of it last night. The Bud Light, great moment. Florida State soccer finding a way to get it done against the Canes. Sole Washington got a goal for Florida State in the first half, as well as Nanya Torre. Here's Torre's shot. It took a deflection in a Seminole team that hadn't lost to Miami in almost 10 years in soccer. Over 2,000 Seminoles packed the Seminole Soccer Complex. You can see the stat there. Jordan Dudley, one of the goals of the season, and an FSU team that continues to ride high under Brian Penske. These Noles are very good on the gridiron, so if that was the appetizer, Lulu, Florida State soccer, that might be a good omen for what we're going to see on the gridiron here tonight from on the pitch.
Let's order up a main course of what we saw last night.
Let's get it done.
Look, sometimes you like the appetizer for a main course, so let's double order, man. Let's do it.
Let's sweep the Canes in Tallahassee this weekend. We take a look at all the different guys that are on the fields and all over Tallahassee. Lee Corso back at Doak. I get chills just looking at the Sunshine Scooter. He was on the Seminole Sports Network earlier on the radio. Retired from College Game Day. What a career. What an all-time Seminole legend.
Well, and you know, that's a guy you never doubt that Lee Corso loves this university and loves Florida State, loves this football team and everything about it. And it's good to see him back here tonight, getting this little Florida State-Miami action here tonight.
I've got some stats for you. We're doing a field pass segment here where we're just going to take you through and give you scenes and sights and sounds of Doak. But the Seminole team, Lulu, who leads the ACC in rushing offense, right? Second nationally. It's 336 yards a game. Phenomenal in passing efficiency. They're great on third down. Quite frankly, Florida State's a juggernaut on offense. But Miami's really good on defense as well. How do you view that matchup here tonight between strength on strength?
Well, I think one of the things you bring up, third downs. And I think one of the things that makes Florida State so dangerous on third down is the fact that you've got a quarterback like Castellanos who is such a dual threat. You can't really focus on one thing with him. If you try to cut off the pass, he's going to tuck it, run, and go. And you've got so many different things with Tommy Castellanos that you have to worry about. And so that's what I think Miami has to be focused on here tonight against Florida State. And that's a tough, it's a tough guy to prepare for.
Who's that over there down there? Is that Michael Irvin?
Yeah, it's Michael Irvin. He was trying to pump up the crowd in College Town earlier, and Florida State fans were drowning him out.
That guy is a ball of energy. You know, again, this is the must-watch ticket in college football on the weekend. You've got Irvin here. You've got the Sunshine Scooter Lee Corso here as well.
You get Corso with the president, Dr. McCullough.
Dr. McCullough in the house as well. The emotions right now, you heard Barnum talk about it. Lulu, you played in that locker room right now. What do you think the feelings are amongst both of these teams?
Right now, you just can't wait to get out there and play. You're tired of talking about it. You're tired of watching film. You're tired of going over scenarios. You just want to get out there and play. But again, part of that is all of that energy is building up in you, and that's why it gets so tough to manage those emotions. And people, they see a guy take a penalty and they go, well, how does a guy do that? It's because of all that. You have all of this stuff that's pent up inside of you, and you finally get that opportunity after hearing people talk about it, after going through game planning sessions, practice, you finally get that opportunity out on the field, and it all just bubbles out, and you just have to be able to control that in this environment, in these situations.
Well, there's Miami's father, Dalvin Cook. Didn't lose to the Canes. Actually has the most yards by a Seminole running back all time against Miami, and you see his numbers. Oh, man, he was phenomenal, wasn't he? Not just for Florida State, for the Vikings as well in the NFL for many years. This is a guy who loves FSU through and through.
Yeah, and you talk about a guy with a burst. When that guy turned on the Jets, you weren't catching him. I mean, and good, powerful runner, but, man, he had that top-end speed that was really hard to touch.
Now, that was Dalvin Cook, who is definitely clicking against Miami in his career. So here's a segue. Give me your picks to click tonight for Florida State. Who are some guys that are going to be stars on the field?
Well, again, we've talked all day about Tommy Castellanos. He's got to get it done here today. Certainly he's the straw that stirs the drink for Florida State. His offensive line, they've got to get it done in front of them. We need to see that offensive line, physical play, get after this Miami defensive front seven. It's a good unit for Miami, so it's going to be a big test for the Florida State offensive line. And I think on the other side of the ball, Darrell Jackson Jr., his old team, he's going to be fired up for this one. He's got to, if you get penetration at him, he can get into the backfield and disrupt things, great. If he can create piles in the middle of that line and just provide barriers for those Miami running backs to have to get around, that's exactly what you want out of a guy in the middle there with Darrell Jackson.
So one on offense, one on defense. How about a third pick to click? Doak Campbell Stadium has got to be a difference maker tonight, no?
Yeah, the crowd's got to get into it. They've got to make noise. We saw what the crowd did to Alabama in that first game of the season. They really were a difference maker. A lot of penalties that were crowd-induced or by the Crimson Tide in that one. We need the crowd to be in this one here tonight.
I cannot wait for this one here tonight. Lulu, great job as always, my friend. You and I will be back at halftime on the video board here in the Jumbotron at Doak. 70th all-time meeting. I got a good note for you to end it. Florida State is 13-8 against Miami since both teams have been in the ACC dating back to 2004. We get another chapter written here tonight. Want to thank Eric Luallen. Want to thank our producer and director, Kirby Kander. For Emily Peters, I'm Ariya Massoudi. This has been Game Day Live presented by Bud Light. All that's left to do now is play football between Florida State and Miami. Enjoy the game.